And welcome back, episode 36, Drop the Green. We have got a lot to cover today, Spencer.
Yes, we do, man.
Everybody buckle in. We're going to keep you up till 2 in the morning, just like last night.
That's right.
But as always, we'll dedicate this episode to somebody. Overview is going to be on SpinGate. That's going to go perfectly into our recap, talk about who stood out, do some Phoenix predictions, drop the green bets, choose who's on this week. Yes.
As always.
And then we'll close it on up. But as always, my name's Austin.
My name's Spencer.
Let's drop the green.
It's been a long time gone since the truth's been told, and I've seen my head cut us low. Come on, save my soul with a bar guitar and a honky tonk.
And we are back. So, late night for you last night?
It was a little bit. I stayed up.
Yeah.
I stayed up pretty late.
I saw on your Snapchat story you were leading some protests, I think.
I mean, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do to win.
You got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything.
That's right.
Yeah. So, yeah, I thought that was you in that video. But,
Yeah.
Anyway,
You can find it on the X.
But so like we told y'all, we've got a lot to cover here, but definitely want to stick to our format. So
Yes, for sure.
Want to dedicate this to somebody, but we're gonna keep this part short, and by that I mean I'm gonna try to. But I picked Kenny Schrader. So what's funny, when I think of the M&M's paint scheme, this is the one.
It's not Kyle Busch.
Yeah, like it's either him or Elliott Sadler first.
So was there any other Mars brands in the sport before M&M's, or were they the first one?
That's a good question. I remember like an old Skittles car.
Even older than this one?
Yeah.
I mean, which is a Mars brand too.
Yeah,
So
but I don't know if it was back then though.
Oh, really?
I mean,
okay.
I don't know. I'm just assuming that they all started separately. And then,
And then Mars bought them all. Yeah.
But yeah, like I remember Skittles car. I don't remember Kenny ever running anything but M&M's.
Really?
Yeah, like he didn't go like a Snickers or a Double Mint.
Kyle Busch's Skittles car is a little bit underrated.
Yeah, I know.
That's
super cool.
Oh my gosh, it's
Super cool.
such a good looking car.
But so I picked Kenny Schrader, May 29th, 1955.
Wow.
From Fenton, Missouri. So he grew up racing sprint cars on dirt, and then did some stock car racing too. But made his Cup debut in 1984. I would say for most people, older than me, this is what I remember him as. But he raced for Hendrick for a long, long time.
Is it a Hendrick car?
No,
okay.
No, so from
because Hendrick, he raced that 25 car.
Yes.
Yeah, and we did him for episode 25.
Right? Did you?
You did.
There's no way I did.
I did. Promise you, because when I saved this picture,
I would have did Tim Richmond.
Maybe I did Ken Schrader then.
Maybe. Interesting. Did you really pick Ken Schrader?
Somebody did. No, you let me do Tim Richmond. I did Tim Richmond.
Then I must not have been here.
You weren't here.
Okay.
Colby did Ken Schrader.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it 10 times better than him.
Okay.
That's so crazy. Anyway, well, since he's already covered it too, so Hendrick was his most successful years. And by most successful, I mean he had like 4 Cup wins. But Kenny's got a huge personality. Even when he was racing Cup, he was kind of like doing what Larson does now, if not more. But he was flying on his plane, going to dirt races through the week.
Yeah.
And then coming back to Cup. Like, he's got some legendary stories. He took Dale Jr. when he was real little on kind of an escapade around Missouri. And
oh, my gosh.
And that's just how he lived back then. So they would dirt track hop all week, race through the week, come back to Cup, race Cup, and all that kind of stuff. But 2000 to 2022, he went to MB2 Racing, I believe is the name. He ran this 36 car. So never a ton of success, but it was Kenny Schrader. He was really cool dude. You remember the car. And back then, I mean, they were making so much money. So even though he's running like 25th every week, I mean, dude's probably still making, like, I don't know for sure, but I would guess like Alex Bowman money today.
Wow.
I mean, that's just what the sport was. So one of the most iconic things, maybe iconic's not the right word, but 2001 Daytona, he's the one that was in the wreck with Dale. He got caught up in it.
Yeah.
He's the one that peered in and saw Dale first.
Wow.
Started motioning over, and he's got the interview afterwards that was like what happened in the wreck? And he's like, we all need to keep Dale in our prayers right now. That's all we need to do. And him and Dale were pretty close. I mean, I've never heard a story of any driver that didn't like
Yeah.
And he still dirt races to this day.
Really?
Yeah, still dirt races. Kind of builds his own cars. Has his little.
That's
small
cool.
car, lives in Missouri, but him and Kenny Wallace are big buddies.
Okay.
And I saw not too long ago they're going to have their own podcast together, which I think will just be like. I like them both, but I think that's going to be such a hard
Listen. Yeah.
'cause it's going to be. Kenny Schrader's probably never going to say anything.
You're not a big talker.
He is, but like it's almost like he's a big talker on his own terms.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if you're with Kenny Wallace,
You're not getting the word in edgewise
no
anyway.
way,
Yeah.
no chance.
Yeah.
But I'll tie it up real quick. One cool thing. So 4 Cup wins, like I said, 2 Xfinity wins, 1 truck win. He's got 1 win in the NASCAR Canada Series.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's cool.
You know what year?
2006.
2023.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
So they raced a dirt track up there, I guess. And he just he raced it last year, or this year, I think, too. He didn't win, but last year.
And we just
he
won
just
it.
won it.
Oh my gosh.
So he's born in 55, so that would make him.
2000 would
He'd
be
be 70. He'd be almost 70.
Yeah.
69.
Whoa.
On little Canadian kids.
Heck yeah, Ken.
Good for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, really cool car. Like I said, that's kind of what I think of when I think of the M&M's car. It'd probably be him. Elliott had a very similar car, like with the big M&M's. I mean, honestly, I guess Kyle's was pretty similar too.
Yeah.
But I love.
You know what's so funny is I'm pretty sure Pedigree was also a sponsor of.
Yeah, so that's a Mars.
Okay,
Mars company.
that's a Mars company
Yeah.
too. I didn't know that either.
It's like because Kyle had Pedigree, M&M's, Snickers, Double Mint, Skittles. All those were Mars companies.
And it's so cool that a dog food brand also gives you some of the best snacks ever.
Weird, yeah.
It's very weird.
Maybe something to it.
Yeah.
But
Or if Kale figured that out for us.
Making America healthy again.
Yeah.
Keep the dog food out of our
Of our Skittles.
But yeah, so Kenny Schrader, that's for me.
All right.
What do you got?
I got Mr. Dave Blaney. Dave Blaney from Ohio. I'll be real short with him. He raced his first race.
He's got a nickname.
No, I didn't see it.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
He is the Buckeye Bullet.
The Buckeye Bullet, Ohio man. Okay, the Buckeye Bullet.
I thought you'd like that.
Yeah, I do like that. The Buckeye Bullet from Ohio. He raced his first NASCAR race in '92 at Rockingham. And he raced this car. He raced a lot of other cars, but just for time's sake, number 36 for Tommy Baldwin Racing. He had 1 top 5, and he raced that car from 2010 to 2012. So 3 years. Had 1 top 5 at Talladega. Everything else was awful for him, and I would assume from those years, that's just. Everyone was just so much better than they were, just a premier team.
He almost won the 2012 Daytona 500 in this car.
Really?
So he was leading, and then they had that caution, and that's when Juan Pablo hit the jet dryer.
Oh,
so when we were under a 2-hour red flag, and they were, it's the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And they were like, maybe they'll call it, and they're all out of their cars and everything, and they're interviewing Dave Blaney, who's never won a cup, never sniffed a cup win, and they're like, Dave Blaney might win the Daytona 500.
Yeah,
but yeah, it was that same 30. That's probably from that night, honestly, because I remember it being.
Yeah, it could have been
a yellow Ollie's car. Isn't that what that is?
Yeah, yellow Ollie's car.
Yeah.
But the other big thing I wanted to talk about with him is he's kind of like Ken, huge dirt guy, huge sprint car guy, World of Outlaws champion, Chili Bowl champion. Knoxville Nationals champion, Kings Royal champion, Gold Cut champ, and what I thought was very interesting, he's 8th on the all-time wins list for World of Outlaws with 95 wins.
Yeah, dude, he's a legend.
He is amazing in a sprint car. Yeah. So hate it for him, honestly, that it couldn't transfer over to Cup a little bit. It would have been cool, but his son's pretty good. So
yeah, and he's said before, and now sprint car racing, I mean, it pays a pretty good amount of money.
Yeah.
I think back then maybe not so much, And so when he got the chance to go cup racing, obviously, like you said, he wished it would work out.
Yeah.
But also he's in that time where it's like, well, I could kind of like suck and
And
still-
make it, yeah.
And so he
Get paid Alex Bowman money
Yeah,
to
and
run 30th.
And he said, like, I kind of knew, okay, this is my path to give my son his best chance to make it in cup.
And he did.
And I mean, Ryan Blaney never ran dirt or anything.
No.
I mean, like, that's what's so Dave Blaney's dad, sprint car legend.
Yeah.
Dave's a sprint car legend. His brother, Dale, is a sprint car legend. And then Ryan Blaney's like never ran a sprint car race in his life.
Wow.
Yeah. Because he was like, this is what you're going to focus on. This is what you're going to be good at. And look at him now.
Pretty good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty good at it. But episode 36, Ken Schrader and Dave Blaney edition. So without further ado, my man, we're excited about what we got coming up in this next 3-hour segment of the podcast.
Yeah. And maybe, I don't know. We feel like it'll be long. Maybe it won't. But
Maybe it won't.
I don't know. So the big thing I want to do, so as y'all know, every week we do an overview.
Yes.
And I knew this week we were going to talk about this because we were in our fantasy group. We're all talking about, the race manipulation that happened this week. And I realized there's probably only like 2 people in that group of 20 that know about this story. Mm-hmm. Right. And I think this story is very important because it sets a lot of precedents that were or were not followed to what we saw Sunday. And you're going to hear a lot of people talk about it. I think even that night, like the commentators,
They mentioned it. Yes. They mentioned it.
2013 Richmond. So the name for it is SpinGate. Obviously a little spin on Watergate,
Deflategate.
which comes off Watergate.
Oh, yeah. I get it.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, is that where the Senators?
Nixon.
Oh yeah, Nixon, that dude. Yeah, no. I'm just messing. Yes, I know what. I'm sorry, I know what Watergate is. They stormed his campaign headquarters. Yeah, they found everything.
Okay, you got it.
Yeah, I got it.
So 2013, I'll lay this out for you. We were not in the playoffs, but we had the chase format.
Okay.
So it was the top 10 in points, and then you had 2 wild card drivers. So let's say go ahead.
Richmond again. Schedule changes so much. Richmond fall.
Yeah.
But it's in the chase.
This is the last race before the playoffs start.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a little bit different than
Yeah.
but it's at the same time it's not.
Isn't that
so
crazy
different.
to have a short track at the end instead of
Well, it used to be
Daytona?
I think it was until 2017. Richmond was the
Last race.
last race. It was the regular season championship race.
And then we changed it to Daytona.
Yeah, it was just Darlington this year
Okay.
because of the Olympics.
Okay. Yeah.
Because they
Yeah.
have to keep Darlington on Labor Day
Okay.
for tradition.
Yeah.
'Cause some traditions we care about.
Others we don't. So
Others-
crazy. Yeah.
So anyway, 2013 Richmond regular season finale. We got 10 guys in on points, right? And we got 2 wild cards. I loved this format.
Yeah.
So if you had a win, automatic wild card, right?
Ooh.
And if you had 2 wins,
You're probably going to be in the top 10.
yeah. So take someone like a Harrison Burton, right?
Yeah.
So he gets his win at Daytona. He's a wild card. Well, then let's say there's 3 guys that are all outside of the top 10 that have wins.
Mm-hmm.
So then it's like best average finish with that win.
Okay.
So you can have a win. That doesn't mean you're guaranteed to be in the playoffs.
Okay.
But because there's like a little wild card battle, right?
Yeah.
Outside of the top 10 with however many wins or average finish, yada, yada, yada. So super cool format.
Yeah.
And that kind of gave you that exciting moment of, well, maybe you were 15th, had a bad season, but you won a race. Now you get a shot.
Yeah.
And it's only 12 guys. So we get into Richmond. The race is going on. Everything's kind of playing out organically. Ryan Newman is leading, and he is with him. Joey Logano and Truex, I believe, were in the wild card spots.
Joey in the 22 and Truex in the 78.
56.
56. Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is the Napa 56 Michael Waltrip Racing car.
Yeah.
So we had the 55 Michael Waltrip Racing car, the 56, and the 15.
Yeah, 3 cars.
Yeah, it was a big team.
Yeah.
A big team. A very good team. Because Clint Boyer was already locked in the playoffs.
In the 15?
In the 15. Vickers was running like a part-time schedule, and like Mark Martin ran that car a little bit.
Okay.
And then Truex had the wild card spot. Well, once Newman started leading, it kicked Truex out.
Okay.
So there's 10 to go. They start getting on Clint Boyer's radio, who's already locked in. Crew chief's like, man, looks like Newman's gonna get in. That sucks. 56 is out. Man. Just like weird. And then Brett Griffin, Clint's spotter, gets on. He's like, hey, your arm itch? Go ahead, itch your arm. Is it hurting you? Clint Boyer just spins out of nowhere. Right?
Brett Griffin, dude on Dorval and McClure.
Yes. So Clint Boyer just spins out.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to flash forward a little bit. After the race, they interviewed Dale Jr., who was right behind him. And they're like, what happened? He's like, that is the craziest thing I've ever seen. He spent 5 laps trying to wreck himself, and he finally did it.
Oh, my God.
That was like the first smoking gun. But anyway, so they 10 to go. Clint spins. We get a caution. So everybody pits, right?
Yeah.
Everybody pits. Newman actually loses spots on pit road randomly, So that puts Truex back in. Right before we go green, everybody's pitted, right? Ty Norris works for Michael Waltrip Racing, which Ty Norris now is with Trackhouse. He's kind of like their president or like whatever he is.
Yeah.
He's high up. So he was that same thing for Michael Waltrip Racing. Well, it's a cutoff race. Ty Norris is on the radio for the guys. And he gets on Vickers' radio and says, you need a pit. You need a pit now. And they're about to go green. And Vickers is like, I am so confused. None of this makes sense. And Ty Norris makes the cardinal sentence that he goes, you need a pit for a point, pit for a point.
Oh.
And he was trying to get Truex another point to just really secure it. So, whole lot of shenanigans, right? And everybody's already skeptical. The race ends, and it was very, very similar feel to what we had at Martinsville, where everyone's like,
just waiting.
Yeah, but just that awkwardness of the commentators they can't not say something.
Yeah.
And you see the drivers, and you're like, the thing I did like is they started interviewing people, but they didn't have any decisions to make that night.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it was a different.
Because it's not a cut. Yeah, it's not a cutoff really.
Race. It was just we still had 10 more races to go. There wasn't as much at stake in a way, but still also at the same time. But a lot of things ended up happening. Jeff Gordon was in, but then he gets kicked out because after that caution, Logano ends up passing him. All these dominoes fell. So they end up going to the radios and find all this stuff out, and then they end up finding Joey Logano's radio. And at this time, front row is a Ford Ally like they are now, but they're even worse than they are now.
Oh.
And they get on David Gilliland's radio. The 22 does. The 22 spotter, they're talking. They're like, hey, will you pull over and let Joey have a spot on this restart, that 10 to go restart? And he's like, well, you know what we've been asking for. And they go, we promise we'll give it to you. They're like, well, you better make sure. I've been asking for this all year. And it was probably some kind of technical information, right?
Yeah.
Well, sure enough, David Gilliland let Joey Logano go.
Wow.
So they find that out too. Well, that point helped Joey Logano
get in
over Jeff Gordon. So, long story short, all this goes down. A day or two later, they find Michael Waltrip Racing $300,000 as a team.
That's pretty hefty.
That was the biggest fine to ever be put on a team until 2023 when Hendrick had you remember the other week I couldn't think of these?
Yes.
Louvers.
Louvers.
Dude, I've been wanting to kill myself for 3 weeks.
Louvers.
So when Hendrick had that penalty that they eventually got out of, that was a $400,000 penalty. So this, in 2013, $300,000.
That's a lot of money.
After the past 4 years, that's like $1 million.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't want you to protest again, but
don't get me started.
But anyway, so it's a huge deal. So not only that, they suspend Ty Norris indefinitely, right?
That's never a good suspension.
No.
In any form.
It's the worst one you can have.
Yeah.
So he's suspended indefinitely. All 3 Michael Waltrip Racing crew chiefs are suspended until December 31st. Keep in mind, this is the regular season. We have 10 more races.
Yeah.
Right? So
they're done for the year.
They dock every Michael Waltrip Racing car 50 points. So that doesn't affect Clint because he was pretty high up. He still docked 50 points, but those 50 points were his regular season points. So when they reset the Chase,
It was
It
fine.
didn't affect him at all.
Okay.
But it knocked Truex down to like 18th or something in points. So Truex is out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
The 55 Brian Vickers car, he was part-time, so like he didn't
carry
make
anyway.
a shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it just gave them like negative points.
Yeah.
Because he never ran a full-time schedule that year. So Truex gets knocked out. They end up finding the crew chiefs at Penske, but like no fine that I could see. Maybe they did, I can't remember. And then the craziest part of this is this is a big deal, right?
Yeah.
It's a big deal. They decide they take Truex out. That puts, I think, Logano, but that puts somebody back in. I can't even remember. I was doing the research on this, but I'm telling you, it's confusing.
Yes.
Even though I saw it happen. So now Truex is out. Somebody else is back in. We've got our 12-person playoff.
Did Jeff Gordon get back in? Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then they determined that because of all this stuff with Penske and Michael Waltrip Racing happens, well, Jeff Gordon deserves to be in. So we're going to add a 13th playoff spot.
What?
They add a 13th playoff spot.
So he's like a third wild card? Or
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah.
He's one of the 11 locked in now.
He's just Jeff Gordon.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, no, I understand. I can see what you're saying.
Yeah. So all this merchandise and all this decor that's like 12 playoffs are like, get a Sharpie and write Jeff Gordon's name on it.
Wow.
13th playoff drive. And it was like one of those things everything was already bad enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like NASCAR pretty much did the right thing, even though, it was Boyer's radio lighting up, it was Vickers' radio lighting up. Truex was just running the race.
Yes.
Much like William Byron.
Just
Right.
running the race.
But he benefited from it.
Mm-hmm.
So they docked him 50 points as well. And that put Truex out.
Yeah.
Right? So they pretty much did the right thing. And then this just random, well, we feel bad for Jeff Gordon. So we're going to add a 13th spot.
That is the weirdest thing that they couldn't figure out in the point system. He must have done something later on in that race where he messed up.
Well, they said because
of Joey, they didn't dock Joey.
Well, the caution, first off, like Gordon was already in.
Yeah.
Right? And then the caution happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the caution happened, that gave the 22 time to collude with the 36.
Okay.
To pass him, which it's all shitty, right?
Yeah.
But like, let's not make this a complete clown show.
Yes.
If everything was bad enough. Don't add a 13th to the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I get where they're coming from, but it made no sense. So the big thing about this, so they get this $300,000 penalty. It's all over the news. Once again, it's the biggest penalty in NASCAR. They are just labeled the absolute scum of the earth.
They're cheaters.
They're cheaters, right?
Yeah.
Napa, who's been a Michael Waltrip sponsor since he was at DEI, followed him to his team. They're sponsoring Truex. They drop. Well, when they drop, now Truex's car has no funding. And we talked about that a little bit in the Truex episode. That's kind of what led to his roller coaster.
Yeah.
That took him so long because
Till he got back to front row or furniture row. Yeah.
Yeah, well, even furniture row, it took years just
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was up and down. So that closed down. They had a principal of the team, I think is what they called him. He was basically an angel investor.
Okay.
Just a guy that liked to spend money. Well, he took his money and left and took his money to Ganassi the year after that.
Okay.
So all this happens in 2013. So 2014, they lose Napa. They go down to 2 cars. 2015, that guy takes his money to Ganassi. They end up folding at the end of 2015. Because of this cheating scandal.
It just put him under.
It snowballed, put him under. They're gone. All because of a spin and a
radio call.
You know the deal. Give us a point. Yada, yada, yada. Basically what we saw.
24 needs a point.
Yeah. So all that to say, any questions about that? Or
Who won the championship?
In 2013?
Yeah.
Jimmy.
So
it didn't make a shit. You know what I mean? It didn't matter.
Michael Waltrip, just seeing the short run success here to get there to just Jimmy to win his 5th one, 6th one?
That would have been his 6th.
6th, yeah.
His 7th was in 16.
Yeah.
But I think that's a really good point that I want to bring up later on how they kind of got out of, like that, it could have been bad. Like let's imagine Jeff Gordon goes on a tear.
Yeah.
And wins. And it all stems back to, or even Logano or even Clint. You know what I mean? Like they kind of got lucky. That it was like that year. You know, they're like, thank God. Every other year Jimmy wins a championship,
they're
like,
mad.
They're mad. They're like, please, Jimmy, just everyone will forget about this year if you just win your 6th championship.
Yes.
So, but I think it's really important to start there because I'm not saying we didn't have manipulation before this. I'm not saying we haven't had manipulation in between Martinsville and this because, you know, we've had it.
Yeah.
It was penalized like 22 at the Roval.
Yep.
You know, small things. Like, it still happens, but you've never had like a full-on colluded effort because they kind of hung one on the fence with Michael Waltrip Racing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's almost like, okay, maybe we can still do some things. We can still finagle some stuff, but you're never going to go on a full, like, effort like Michael Waltrip Racing did, or you'll get killed.
Yeah.
And then I think that brings us to Martinsville Recap.
Yes, it does.
If you're good, as long as you.
No, that was good. I thought that was great.
I just think it's really important to get that one out of the way because.
Yeah, because there's a lot of things to discuss.
Yeah,
because even how similar these incidents are, they're also completely different too. You know what I mean? Because and the big one that I kind of wanted to get into was the fact that on the broadcast after the race, I think this is a good place. I don't know where to start, so I hope this is okay.
You want to do a good race rating first?
Yeah, we'll do a good race rating. I gave it an 8.6.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you take all this bullshit out,
yeah,
the best Martinsville Next Gen race we've ever had.
And
that's what makes it a shame.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We talked about this off the air a little bit. That makes it a shame because it was finally what we wanted from a short track, especially Martinsville. We got tire wear. They didn't last. Lap times would just fall off the face of the earth, and we got to see some comers and goers a little bit. I mean, Blaney on that last restart drove from 6th again.
Yeah, crazy.
Golly.
How cool was all the rubber on the side of the cars?
Oh, it was amazing. Yeah.
Dirtier all night.
Yeah. And it really punished you. Like, it was so crazy that even Blaney could pass people on the outside. Yeah. Because to me, everyone was just talking about that was marbles up there. With all the rubber there, should have just been marbles, and he's just able to roll the top somehow.
It was just cool. It felt really old school.
Yeah.
How as the race went on, and it's a little thing, but like I said, all the rubber buildup, like on the car, like it looks so gritty.
Yeah.
And just nasty and dirty, like old school.
They had They had a 500 lap Martinsville race where you're digging. Yeah. You know, you're not just driving around there. It wasn't. We've seen that track be a fuel mileage race.
Right.
We saw it 2 years ago, I do believe.
I think we've seen every next gen race.
Yeah. I think even Blaney's was a little bit last year was a little bit of fuel saving as well. I mean, that's what we had seen there, and to finally go back. I mean, godly.
It was great.
They need to keep it the same. Like, do not change anything except the format. But yeah.
Well, that'll bring us to the format. So I got a little bit of a breakdown, and I'll let you kind of go through it just to set us up to where we were. So what all led up to this?
To the
final call. Like, if you want to go through this breakdown here.
On the sheet. I was like, what are we looking at? I got you. Right here. Yeah. So, Bell is deep in the pack, 1 lap down. Had an awful car pretty much all day.
He had a great pit. No.
He had a bad pit stop.
Yeah, he had a great car.
He had a great car.
Yeah.
He got a bad pit stop, and he could not pass in traffic, couldn't get back around. Byron was on old tires on that last stop there, so they had to stay out because they had kind of gotten to that 12th to 8th in there, and they were kind of stuck, and they wanted some track position. Byron is 1 point to the good because Blaney leading, and Seabell could only pass Bubba, because he was also a lap down, and Bubba was 8 cars in front of him. But
Bubba was half a track ahead of him.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. There was a bunch of cars in between.
Half a track.
Yes.
Ahead.
Yeah. Half a track ahead. And at that same time, we're watching the Chevy blockade. I think the first one there was Ross. Yeah, Ross gets to the back of William Byron.
Yeah, because just to go a little bit before, so both Larson and Byron stayed out, and Larson made it work for a little while.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, both their tires are starting to fade, and Byron just isn't. Larson's able to hold on a little bit better.
Yeah, he didn't.
Byron's not, and that's when Blaney starts coming, and Byron's crew chief Rudy Fugel says, "You can let the 12 pass.
Yeah.
Don't screw up. Let the 12 pass." And he's like. Then they keep coming. They're like, okay, you can let 2 more people pass. You,
yes.
Right? And we're watching the points.
And to me, that should be fine. You can say that. Yeah.
Well, and all he's saying there is like, don't race him super hard. Because also we saw Blaney all day. Like, if you even tried to race him,
he was
shipping you.
Yeah.
Like, he woke up in a bad mood.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Dude, he was shipping Denny out the way.
Yeah.
Like,
when he was behind Brad early in the race, he was like, are you going to get out of my way?
Yeah.
It's like they cut to him lighting up on the radio about Brad. Then they cut to Brad. Brad's simply making laps.
Yes, yeah.
Brad's racing.
Yeah, it's like stage 2.
Yeah.
We're not even a third into stage 2,
Yeah.
and Blaney is throwing a hissy fit.
So that's why they're like, don't even mess with the 12.
Yeah.
Like,
let him go.
If we lose on points, that's fine. At least we didn't get shipped.
Yeah.
So then they're like, you can let 2 more pass you. It gets to where Byron is good by 1 point. We know Bell. The only car he can pass is Bubba, and Bubba's half a track ahead.
Yeah.
Right? So then that's when the 1 and the 3 come up, and they start running side by side.
Side by side.
With I swear it's like 15 to go at this point.
It was a lot. It was a lot. I know I was watching it and I was pulling for William Byron. Before you really figure out what's going on, you're really thinking that William Byron is just like pulling some miracle.
Yeah.
You do for like 6 laps, and then you're like, okay, I'm not stupid until Brad gets there. Brad's there, and then there was another car next to Brad too that I'm like, William Byron has held up everyone.
Yeah.
This is not real anymore.
Well, what keyed me in was, Ross got outside of Austin Dillon. I'm like, okay, that's like Ross would do that. Ross would be like, I'll try.
Yes, I'll try something.
And then they were showing him down the straightaway, and I see Ross peek a fender on the outside of Byron and then come back. And I'm like, no way.
Yeah.
This isn't happening. And he did it every lap.
He did it every time.
I'm like, dude, he's letting off on the straightaways. Mm-hmm. And we know he's got better tires.
Yes.
Like, he probably could have passed him on the outside.
He would have probably got to Larson. If he would have passed him when Ross got to William Byron, say William Byron tries to fight him off 3-4 laps, maybe. I mean, that's how bad Willie B's tires were. I mean, he didn't have nothing left.
Screaming inside that car.
And we saw him with the blockade behind him. He was doing good to keep it straight. Yeah. I mean, he was everywhere, so loose that whole last run.
Could not go slow enough.
No, they couldn't
go slow enough.
Yeah.
But so you had the 1, the 3, the 7, and the 77 get involved, and that's when Brad comes up. And then I listened to another podcast today that brought this up, because the whole time I'm like, Brad just needs to just ship the whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
But then you got to think, and this ties into everything else. If Brad causes a caution, and that makes Blaney have to restart, then Blaney gets
Ford.
Then it's a Ford problem.
Yep.
Then the Chevy problem becomes a Ford problem. Which is a Toyota.
Yeah, because if William Byron could have got a caution, he would have been fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
he would have got ate up on a restart on old tires.
No, I think everybody would have pitted. I think they had run so many, like even as slow as those guys are running, like if they had 15 to go, you're not probably going to pass up coming and getting fresh ones.
Yeah, and then Bell still wouldn't have been the lucky dog.
He wouldn't have been the lucky dog.
No. But honestly, if you're Bell, all Bell had to do was finish 13th.
Yes.
So he could have stayed out.
He could have stayed out.
Super old tires.
And just caused mayhem. Just mayhem. Yeah.
Just be an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
But that didn't happen. So,
no.
So we're watching this blockade, and it's so obvious, right? And
literally, it was obvious when you got like under 10 to go. You're like, they are not trying to pass him. And then next thing you know, you have Bubba who goes, I got a flat, and then he doesn't hit the wall, he just gets out of the groove and slows to school zone speed.
Yeah, the whole blockade passes him.
Yes, yeah, passes everybody, and the last lap, and here comes Seabell, and the only mistake Seabell made was riding the wall, which to me, played into this even more because all he had to do was pass Bubba. They were so bad at cheating, they didn't fill him in. Dude, you just have to pass Bubba, son.
I think that's what poor I just feel like he's probably the most innocent person.
Yeah, he's just doing what he's told.
I don't think Seabell even realizes that Bubba has laid out so Bubba's last lap was 3 seconds slower than the field.
Yeah.
Right. So that's obvious. Right? And he didn't have a tire go down. He said he had a tire go down. He told Bob Proctor he had a mechanical failure.
Yeah.
And this isn't like Bubba deciding this, right? So
no.
It's not a knock on Bubba. It's not a knock on Ross, Austin Dillon, any of those guys.
No.
It's the bullshit that we have to deal with.
Exactly.
But
we're not getting on any of the drivers in this instance.
No.
Yes.
It's all going to boil down to what it always boils down to. Mm-hmm. But I think Seabell sees Bubba. He knows that's the one car he can pass. Poor Seabell is so innocent that he's like, I've got to pass Bubba. Drives it in there deep, hits the wall, and he's like, well, Bubba might cross me over. Not even thinking that Bubba
did this for him.
Bubba has no interest in passing the 20.
Yeah.
And so he rides the wall. It's like, God, it's just... And then we have 27 minutes, which I'm fine with them taking their time, but then, like, to make...
This call...
Like you still have to... I don't know. Me, personally, you still have to DQ Bell.
Yes, you have to DQ Bell. After what we saw, we know there's one thing you cannot do anymore, and that's wall ride. Yeah. And the evidence shows he wall ride. No matter how you want to put it, yes, he didn't pull a Hell Melon and go in there like that, but when he got to middle of turn 3, turn 4, and he hit the wall, he did not turn left. He did not try to get off of it. He rode it.
Yeah.
So,
and some people are like, I've heard some people were like, he didn't even pass. You know, the only person he could pass was Bubba. But if you use other cars as a reference, like he didn't really make any time. You know
it's not about making time. It's about the principle. It's a safety
violation. Yeah. And that's there's not even a rule that says no wall riding.
Yeah.
There's a rule that's if it's unsafe. That's the NASCAR rule, right? If we deem we're gonna give you 20 rules. Yeah. And the 21st rule is gonna be
if we deem.
if we deem.
Yeah.
Right? That's the whole NASCAR book should be called if we deem.
Yes.
Because that's what happened. And so they spend all that time and we don't even address the Chevy blockade.
That's the worst part is the broadcast really, and they had kind of hinted at it, you know, because I mean, we're watching, there's only two things we can watch, Seabell and William Byron, because nobody was passing Blaney. Blaney was gone. And Denny had nothing for him. Larson had nothing for him. And so you're just sitting there and you're seeing these Chevys parked behind William Byron, and then this happens and we don't even get to talk about it. We're talking about if it's considered a wall ride or not. Yeah. To me, that was the most blatant, easiest thing. They should have summed that up in the first 45 seconds of their 27-minute meeting. Seabell ran the wall. Okay, good. Now we got to figure out what's going on with William Byron. That's, to me, what the other 26 and a half minutes should have been, is what we're doing with the 24.
And what's crazy is the broadcast, like, and credit to them, they showed you the radio.
Yes.
Immediately. And Jeff Burton and Steve Letarte are, like, telling you, like, this is, they're more or less saying
SpinGate.
And NASCAR, Eldon Sawyer said after the race, he's like, we had to spend that whole 27 minutes looking. Like, we didn't have time to pull. And I'm like, well, the broadcast
didn't
literally just why do we have, and we probably wouldn't even have time for this, but it's like the tire, Kyle Busch's tire that fell off.
Yeah.
Like they didn't see that.
Yeah.
And Steve Letarte, before they ever even go green, is like, there's a tire on the track. Like,
yes.
Like
that still crazy that we even went to green.
Yeah. It's
unreal.
I don't understand how the broadcasters, and the fans watching on a delay can see things
before the officiating crew does.
Yeah, which we do not even have time for that.
No.
And we talk about it every week. But so it comes down to it. So I think we laid it out pretty well. And so the other thing I've heard people say is like, well, Bubba had to do that because Chevy was obvious, you know, like Byron was 1 point to the good, should have been like -5.
Yeah.
Because he probably would have got passed by 6-7 cars.
Yes, right? It wouldn't have even been close. I mean, because Ross would have got him, Austin Dillon would have got him, the 77 probably would have got him, Brad Kay would have definitely got him. Yeah,
and whoever else.
Whoever,
he had a parachute out.
Yes,
Absolutely
dude.
not faster, no.
He could not go any faster than what he was
And
going.
so that is that's what made, and I say made loosely, like I'm not apologizing for it, but that's what made the Toyotas have to say, we have to do something. And that's when Bubba slowed down. So everyone's like, well, they had to. It's like, well, two wrongs don't make a right.
100%.
So, but part of me thinks like, okay, let's say that never happens. Like Bubba never slows down, that never puts Seabell in a position to ride the wall. And all we have is this one instance that's blatant, right?
Yeah.
Does something get done about that affects William Byron?
No.
I don't know. I feel like it does because I feel like...
You feel like it does.
I feel like it does because I feel like the NASCAR had a scapegoat here to just be like, Seabell rode the wall, he's out.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. I would have loved to see if they would have filled Seabell in, that all you got to do is just finish the 20... I mean, Bubba's stopping, okay?
Yeah. But see, I think if Bubba stops, I think the wall ride is what made all...
I know, that's what I'm saying. You take the wall ride out, dude, I think William Byron gets DQ'd automatically.
Well, then I think Seabell would have to too.
Be DQ'd, yeah.
Did the same. I guess what I'm saying is like, you're taking a huge risk because you're putting it in NASCAR's hands.
That's never good.
Never good. It's a coin flip at best. And then you're saying, okay, we followed the rules, obviously.
Yeah.
Now you don't have the blockade, Bubba, and the wall ride. Now you just have the blockade.
Yeah.
And you have a damn good case there.
You have an amazing case. You call up 2311's lawyer, and you'd be like, look here, we have got a juicy one.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that, that's hindsight, right?
Yes.
I mean, all this is happening.
Yeah.
Like that. Did you see the penalties that were handed out?
I did.
Okay. So I'll say them real quick. And then I think that's why this whole SpinGate thing is important to talk about. So the 1, 2, and the 23 that we talked about. So really, you could throw the 7 and 77 in there too.
You definitely could.
I guess you can't penalize 4. I guess you got just, I don't
know.
But they're the ones that were on the radio. Do you know the deal? Does the one know the deal?
Mm-hmm.
So they incriminated themselves. And that's a lot of this. We go back to SpinGate. Clint Boyer's team, like, didn't even get the biggest penalty because they couldn't determine that he did that on purpose. Yeah. Because I guess innocent until proven guilty, right? You had to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. So I guess 7 and 77.
His arm itched.
It was bugging him hard. Yeah. So the crew chief, spotter, and the competition director of all those teams and their vehicles are suspended. Yeah. Till the end of the year, which is one race. Yeah. Now, none of those guys are racing for jack shit either. And they all got fined $100,000, driver and team. So I believe that's like 200. The way I read that, it was like, so Bubba would get fined $100,000
out of his pocket,
and then 2311 would as well. Yeah. That's the way I read that. And then each car got penalized 50 points. Yeah. Which once again,
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. So the problem I have with this that I know you have as well, we go back to SpinGate in 13. Truex was doing nothing but driving his own race, but because all this stuff happened to benefit him, he also got docked points.
And William Byron
made out scot-free. Scot-free.
Do we think it changes if that blockade is Alex Bowman? You know what I mean?
Yes, I know. And I've thought about that too because I think that's how that's how the sport's changed, right? Is because back then it was definitely teams, right? Yeah. Like even though manufacturers still work together, you didn't see it on track as much aside from a super speedway. Like that's and that's another example people bring up, but it's like things are different, right? Yeah. So now it's like these teams have had to get so close because the car's so similar and everything's so competitive. We're having to work together more that now manufacturers are working together at the same level a team would 10 years ago. Yes. So I do think that if you go off 13 and that precedent that yes, if Bowman was involved, it would have been. You could spin it and be like, well, obviously they colluded. Well, obviously the Chevy colluded because what is this plan? Yeah. That was clearly discussed before the green flag.
Yeah, it's It's crazy to me that NASCAR doesn't see what we all see every single week, and
But they don't want to.
I know, but that hurts our sport. That hurts the sport. That hurts the integrity. You can talk about integrity on any level you want. That means everything in sports and how you officiate and keeping things as honest as possible. And when you lose integrity and NASCAR not being man enough or having the balls to just look at their sport with unbiased eyes and go, every single manufacturer is doing this on every level. Not saying that we need to completely change it, but do we have to penalize these teams to it? Because now it's just going to get, we saw where the line is. Now it got moved. We're going to tiptoe up to it again. You know what I mean? They're only setting up to have this happen again because they won't come down with a death penalty type of sentence on these people for doing this stuff.
Right. And I mean, so Trackhouse and RCR are appealing.
Yeah.
2311 is not. I don't blame them because I would just imagine, this is me speculating, whenever we get to these court cases, if they don't settle out, I feel like that's another piece of evidence to be like, if you're NASCAR, this is why we do the things we do, because teams like the people next to us suing us try to manipulate our sport.
Yeah.
Right? So I feel like they're just bowing out.
Yeah.
But if I'm Trackhouse or RCR and I just got slapped with a $100,000 fine for following this plan, we don't know what the plan is, but we know there's a plan.
Yeah.
The plan was mentioned.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, okay, Chevy, we did your bidding. Here's an invoice for $100,000, and Chevy's just like, well, we already had a blank check made.
Yeah.
Put your amount on it. Send it to NASCAR. That's how I feel it's going down.
Yeah. The one thing I want to mention about appeals, I'm glad you said something, because I can't believe that Seabell wasn't allowed to appeal.
Yeah. Did you see Joe Gibbs after that?
Yes. Yeah. It irritated.
Yeah. I would take
mad.
I would take that as an example to court if I'm 2311 and say,
yes,
they won't even let us protest.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is protested.
Yeah.
Here's a sheet of things Hendrick has gotten out of that aren't near as bad as the wall ride, and the wall ride's still bad, but yeah, I don't. They just make it up as they go.
I know. I think that was another just massive mess up on NASCAR's part that Seabell is not allowed to appeal. I mean, again, it's crazy, but every time I feel like someone goes to appeals court, they win. Like, that's what it feels. I mean, it is
more times than not.
More times than not, and you give someone Joe Gibbs, who kind of probably not Hendrick power, but pretty doggone close. Yeah. You give them an appeal. I don't know. I just think that's ridiculous that he wasn't allowed to appeal. Kind of to move on just a little bit from that, not appeals wise, but just the whole scenario. Why does NASCAR want this? Because they clearly could nip this in the butt. You know what I mean? They could.
And I think, like we said before, that some form of this has always happened before playoffs, before the chase. But the more, in my opinion, the more we go down this format and the more you give, the more that there's cars on the track that are essentially racing for nothing, the more you're opening yourself up for this.
Yeah.
So there's only 8 cars out there that are really racing for anything.
Yes.
And then it's like a high tides raise all shit. It really reminds me of the people, like those weird SEC fans that are like, I don't mind Alabama winning the national championship because it's good for the SEC.
Yes.
That's how I feel like it is now. That, okay,
but it's hardcore.
It's like, well, we don't care. We're not in the playoffs, but we'll help Chevy because that'll bring more money to Chevy. And now we all work together, and high tides raise all ships. So now, if we can, I guess my point is, it all boils down to the format.
Yeah. I'll say kind of like a counter argument. I heard this. Denny was talking about this, and he was talking about what did Austin Dillon and Ross Chastain have to gain from this? Because that is a big question. What do they have? And before you answer, he talked about how Toyota, their Racing Performance Center, they just send Joe Gibbs their information. They just send Joe Gibbs everything that they know, and then their engineers go off whatever. 2311 has a contract with Joe Gibbs, and they get that same information, probably watered down a little bit, but pretty much the same. Chevy, on the other hand, does it a little bit differently. And they have the Chevy Performance Center in Concord, Charlotte, that whole area. They have that there. And from what I gathered with him, Hendrick runs that thing. Mm-hmm. It's practically theirs. So they have every Chevy performance thing, all their Chevy engineers kind of report to, I guess, Hendrick, or, that's who their first guy is. And then Hendrick divvies it out to every Chevy team that they want. They're kind of like, here you go. Well, if you're Ross or you're Austin Dillon and if you're RCR or Trackhouse and you don't help the 24 in this case scenario, who's to say next year that when they're tier 1 sponsor, or tier 1 partner, and they show up and just Hendrick doesn't give them nothing, Chevy doesn't give them nothing.
Yeah.
And to me, that's a massive red flag in the whole system. Where
I love Danny to death, but I would say 2311's in that same boat.
Okay, I'm just telling you what he said.
We can't expect him to. His car's involved, his team's involved. Like he's gonna be a little bit of a home team guy.
Of course, but that's why I said that.
I think it's the same for Chevy as Ford as Toyota. That's the world we live in now.
Penske runs the Ford plant,
But also the cars have gotten so close that we've moved on from teams working together to manufacturers working together. Mm-hmm. So it benefits RCR and Trackhouse, not only for the information and that little system you're talking about, but it's like if Chevy, as a partner, you want to be in their good graces, right?
Yeah.
Because we see these key partnerships come and go. Even Ford, like if SHR stayed, they were pulling their key manufacturer support, right?
Yeah.
So you see that even if you're on a Chevy team, and you're like, well, I guess we got to play the game.
Yeah.
Because if this is how manufacturers are going to be, if we're out of the playoffs, if you're Ross and you're 19th in points, like, do you pass the guy, which essentially means nothing, or do you stand behind the guy, which still essentially means nothing, but Chevy isn't pissed at you?
Yeah,
but this is Chevy not being pissed at you.
Every time. But this is why no other manufacturers will join the sport, right? Because that's 100% why. It's not about money. It's not about anything. It's about that you're going to have to field a 7-car team to just be competitive at this point. To have half a chance. And even Toyota struggles at super speedways, and they only have 7 cars in the field. So, why would Honda, Dodge, any of these guys want to come back and have to deal with that at all?
You're never going to get ahead.
You're always going to be behind. And you could be in the sport for another 20 years from now if it keeps the same way. You're just going to be 20 years behind them, whatever it is. And it's ridiculous that it's gotten to that point. I am fine because I know how I feel. I'm a Chevy guy. I like to see Chevys win, but I don't think it should come to that. What I mean?
Not at the expense of the sport.
No, never, anything. We need to have a line, and I think that leads into kind of SpinGate. There's manipulation in every race. Mm-hmm. Maybe not every race, but there's manipulation across the sport a lot. Is certain race manipulation okay and others not? Because to me, manipulation should be none. Like, we should not manipulate anything.
It should be none, but then you have, like, that's where you open a can of worms, because you go back to the Roval, and Denny, he raced Kyle Busch pretty hard.
Yes.
Because he needed to make sure he had those points. And then on the last lap,
he let him pass.
Because he was like, hey.
That's technically race manipulation.
Technically, right.
Yeah.
Now, do we care about that?
No.
We go back to Talladega, where Kyle Larson was pushing Brad, and right at the end they said, "Hey, don't push him. Don't push him."
That's race manipulation.
That's no different. We're about to go to Talladega being in round 3, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh!
And what I honestly think will happen with that race is it will be the most boring Talladega race you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Because they know who they need to get in, and they'll just line up behind those guys.
Yeah.
That's neither here nor there. So, all we do is harp on it, and I hate being negative, but I feel like, yes, it's always going to happen, but in this format, you're giving it more of a chance to happen. Okay. Because you have 3/4 of the guys out there that have nothing better to do than to help those 8 guys.
So it's almost like you should do something for the back half of the field to give them something to race for.
Just get rid of the format.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're on I'm not saying regular season like my format, right?
Yeah.
We already know who's more or less in, who can be in, what it'll take, and then there's only X amount. There's fewer situations where you could manipulate somebody in, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when we're going on a 3-race season, because the points reset, right, you're opening so many scenarios of how you can manipulate this to get what you want.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, it makes sense.
Like
and
your drawing board of manipulating the race to get somebody in is so huge on a small sample size.
Yeah.
If we have some kind of structure to where everything's more set in stone, it's going more off a bigger sample size to where, okay, well, let's pick like Ryan Blaney, right, who's had a decent season but not great. Like he needs to win to get in, and that's about the only crazy.
Joey,
or Joey. Like that's about the only crazy thing that can happen in this race.
Yes,
right, because we're not going off a 3-race season. Well, now it's 3-race season. None of those guys were safe.
No,
none of them. So all it took was a bad pit stop.
Seabell,
for this giant can of worms to happen, and for 3/4 of the field to play a factor into what happens to those 8 guys.
Yeah. No,
get rid of the format.
Get rid of the format. One of the last things I got 2 more things I want to say. One of them I want to get your opinion on. NASCAR clearly doesn't want a 7-time champ anymore. Like they have made, and I know I don't want to get into the format because we have a whole episode on it, but with this system, you are leaving out the best driver in the sport right now who won the most races all year. Still think, with your system or with any system, you still have to compete every week, whatever. But to consistently leave out those drivers, Kevin, in that year that we talked about, 2014, 2020. 2020, yeah, 2020.
Yeah, 2020, yeah.
2020.
Yeah.
To leave out a guy that won a third of the races that doesn't get to compete for a championship, ridiculous. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
That's probably the best example. I haven't dived too far into the stats, but even as a Larson fan, I'll say like his average finish is probably not great.
No, it is.
But he's got a crazy amount of DNFs.
Did you not see the stat that they put out? NASCAR did? Oh, it's on Instagram. I should have sent it to you.
Last time I checked, his average finish was like, I mean, it's still good, but it was like not great. Because he's either wrecked or won. I mean, he's probably top 2 or 3 in DNFs this year.
There was someone put out like the season leaders in everything, and Kyle Larson was number 1 in like all of them, like top 10s.
That's correct. Okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I should have saved it.
But dude, he is wrecked. He has not finished a lot of races.
100%. But oh my gosh, I wish I could find it.
That's surprising.
I'm not gonna be able to find it now. But it was, again, it may not have been top 10s, but it was a long list of stats, and Kyle Larson was all over half the board of it. Like laps led, all these type of things that you see out of consistently good drivers, and the only way to get number 1 in those categories is to be consistently good. Right. And now he's not racing for a championship. So it's one of those things. To me, you're watering down what could be. Again, we both know how we feel about championships. They don't mean as much as they used to. But still, I want to know that when my kids are watching NASCAR, that, hey, when they're looking at it and Ryan Blaney's on a tear, Joey, same way, they could be a 4-time champion.
Yeah.
I still don't think they hold a deck of cards to Kyle Larson. You know what I mean? Well, and that's the worst. And that may be throughout the whole sports history. And again, I've only
yeah. But I think Joe Logano is one of the best cup drivers out there.
Yes,
I really do. And I think Joey Logano could probably be a multi-champion in any format.
100%.
He's that good.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, his 2 championships have came when he really didn't deserve them.
100%.
He has other seasons where he's done better and been a victim of the format.
Yes.
Right? Like 2015 comes to mind. I think he won 7, maybe 8 races that year. Didn't even make the final 4.
Yeah.
Because he got wrecked at Martinsville by Matt Kenseth.
Yes.
So it's like you're tainting someone, like the overall fan perception of Joey They hate him, number one.
Mm-hmm.
But they're like, oh, he's only won championships because of this format. Joey's one of the best.
Yeah. Hey, I wasn't deceiving that. You know what I'm saying, though?
I know you know that, but I'm just saying, like, that's the perception that we're giving to fans. Because I don't think any fan, maybe we live in a bubble, but I don't think any fan thinks this format's legitimate.
I don't think so. And
I've never met one.
I've never met one that's been, and that kind of leads me into another question: is what's the upside of this format? We've talked about
Chaos.
so many,
Chaos.
yeah.
I think honestly, because NASCAR seems to be more ran by almost, and I mean it's always been ran by business people, but it's almost like you look at how much NASCAR has been talked about, right? Even though it's negative, that doesn't matter. It's all about engagement, interaction.
Yep.
Right? It's the same thing. I don't think they post about Bubba any more than they do any other driver. I know a lot of people say that, but they know when they post a Bubba thing,
it's going to take off.
It's going to take off, and none of it's going to be positive.
Yeah.
But they don't care because you're getting paid off. It's
engagement.
It's clickbait. Right?
Yeah. It's
like we're setting this whole sport up as a clickbait engagement farm.
Yes.
And I think that's all they care about.
Yeah. Glad you said that, because that leads into the last thing I want to say, and then we can kind of leave it where it is and let the listeners form their own opinion of what they think. So I looked in because, like you said, this format was created pretty much to create chaos, and so I wanted to know if that had helped. And the only way that you really gauge that is by TV ratings. TV ratings at Martinsville since 2013 has not changed.
Right. So why are we doing it?
Exactly.
Yep.
There was 3.9 million viewers in 2013. 4.2. That's nothing.
Right.
That's nothing. The 2020, that was 2023, not this year. I couldn't find 2024's ratings. That was 2023. 2022, 3.9. 21, 4.1, 2020, 3.6, 3.8, I mean, it's stayed around 4 million this entire time.
Yeah.
To me, that should be a guarantee of quit all this bullshit and just let us go back to racing and see what that does, because I guarantee it will have a way better effect if you bring back integrity into racing. That's all we want to see is a race play out. You're not going to get rid of the Larson not pushing. You're not going to get rid of that ever, probably. No matter what you do, you're not going to get rid of that. But like you said, you can minimize this whole issue to something so small to where you're like, we can be okay with this.
Yeah, and I think that's such a good point, and I'll close on this. I think good racing and personalities sell it.
Yeah.
There doesn't have to be a crazy format. A perfect example of that, and I know you've been to dirt races that Kyle Larson's been to, right?
Yes.
Right? You have.
Yeah.
How many people are there?
A billion.
A billion.
We are at a track that holds maybe 3,000 people, and it has got 15 there.
If there's a fire, we're all dead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. So glad you said that. So you go there because of the driver, right?
Yes.
And then the racing's always great.
Yeah.
He doesn't even have to win.
I didn't know.
Right.
The one, I think I've been to 2, he hasn't won either of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. But you still went.
Yeah.
It's still amazing. It's still packed. I would guarantee you may or may not remember what series that was.
No.
100% chance neither you nor me knows who even won the championship in that series.
I have no clue. I couldn't name 3 other drivers probably.
Right.
I couldn't.
So why we're not prioritizing number 1 personalities, which we've talked about.
Yeah.
And number 2 good racing, which we talk about every time.
Yeah.
And let the rest figure itself out.
And it will.
And it will.
It will.
It absolutely will. And that's the other thing is, and we've talked about this too, the next gen, of all the things we hate about it, the thing it has done is create parity.
Yeah.
We can I don't know if we'll ever get back to a full season championship just because it's been 20 years, but the racing's so close.
Yeah.
We don't need this manufactured drama.
We don't.
They're all running so close together. Yeah. And we have more winners. We have more guys that you can't go out and dominate. I mean, even Larson, we're talking about how dominant of a season he's had. Dude, Jeff Gordon won 13 races one year.
Yeah.
Kyle Larson's won 6.
Yeah.
That's not even, I mean, 6 is a lot.
6 is a lot.
But that's our new standard of 6 is a dominating season.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
It's a perfect balance.
It is. It is.
So, I don't know.
Personalities. Full speed. Coolest thing ever.
I'm really interested. So, I did see somebody posted, I think it was Jeff Gluck. He took a picture in William Byron's suite that his parents were in. They had the Netflix cameras.
Yeah.
And that got me thinking, I was like, man, this race is going to be a part of that documentary.
Yeah.
Now, NASCAR pays for that documentary.
Yeah.
So you wonder how much of the...
Oh, they're going to cut a lot that those guys... I know.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
There's something's... And they're going to interview these guys, and they're going to let them talk. And I did think there was nothing really biased about the first season.
No, like I thought they put it out there.
So
yeah.
I'm super excited to see.
Yeah.
All right. Last question, and then we'll move on. Is this enough to change the format?
I think it is. Yeah. But again, I know I'm going to sit over here and be biased. I thought the format should have been changed a long time ago, but I'm with Brad. This is it. This is ridiculous to where, like I said, I think we're just going to see it more and more and more because teams are going to be able to get away with it. William Byron walked away from that scot-free. You know, even if Team Chevy doesn't pay it, Team Hendrick would pay that fine to keep their car in the playoff any day.
Yeah.
And I think if it was reversed, if Trackhouse could have a car in the playoff, they would sign that check to send to NASCAR.
It's huge.
Exactly. It's massive. So, I think this is NASCAR was in a fight this weekend and they did not win. They showed some cuts and bruises, and when they came up from this one, they had two good, massive black eyes, and you saw this. Everyone saw it, and I just think that us as fans just need to keep the foot on the pedal that this is awful. We don't want this. And again, I hope that it comes to that to where we don't have to, the last thing they want us to do is quit watching, you know, but I'm probably not personally going to ever do that.
No,
but
people will.
People will.
Yeah,
people will. And so I mean, again, I don't want that to come to because I think more NASCAR fans, the better.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think it's the final straw, and we need to really have a serious talk coming up in the next years about how we have to get rid of this system because we have everything there that we need to make this amazing. Mm-hmm. We don't hear about this stuff in Formula One.
No,
we don't. No. Premier Motorsport.
No, and I've got an opinion on that, but I'll save it for because I've got a little note about it in predictions. But we'll do a little bit of standouts. We doing good on time?
We're an hour and 7 in.
Damn, we kind of have been very efficient with that.
Yeah.
All right.
I thought it was good.
Seems like the dedications are maybe too long on all of them.
Maybe so. Well, I will say we sometimes go off on tangents on the dedications. We tell a story here, there, then we hit up a protest. You know, it's all part of it. Yeah, it's all part of it.
Which you have to do as an American citizen.
Exactly.
All right, so standouts: Carson, Corey. Corey shit the bed.
Yep.
So Carson's 25, Corey's 10, Justin's 4-2. So Justin's gonna win the overall.
Yeah,
he might make it close, but best he can do is 5-2.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure if Corey's going to get a ride next year. I would think so. He's already I think just because he's brought sponsors over there. But what about Carson Hocevar? Absolute domestic terrorism in Martinsville.
I love it. Bring it on. No one's still saying anything to this man.
So I heard this part on the radio. I missed some of the race, but I listened to it all. But I guess Bowman shipped him.
Yeah, Bowman moved him.
Was he mad?
I think it was either that, his car was a bit faster, but I do think he was just tired of being behind him. You know, Carson would have done the same thing, so just move him. Totally. I mean, just get him out the way. You don't want to be near that guy, so don't let him get to your bumper. Be on the offense instead of the defense with Carson on the other side.
The broadcast was absolutely crucifying Carson.
They did. Yeah, they did.
I have no problem with that.
No.
But selfishly, I'm like, until Carson is shown something to say this is unacceptable,
keep it up. Yeah.
Because he's fast.
Yeah.
He's fast. And if he wants to make a bunch of enemies when he could just be running top 10, that's even better for us.
I love having 12 enemies and getting a top 5.
Yeah. nobody's stopping.
once a month. No one.
Nobody.
No one.
And they're only going to get faster next year from everything we've heard. So I hope he doesn't. We see a lot of guys have a really good rookie season because they kind of don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
And then when they get all that data and they're like, well, maybe I was doing this wrong. It's almost like they start second guessing themselves.
Yeah.
And they have a legitimate sophomore slump. We see that a lot.
Yeah.
But I hope that doesn't. I hope he gets even faster.
Yeah.
And is just pissing off even better people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
would love him to take it to a Kyle Larson, you know?
Well, I would love it reminds me of the clash earlier this year. Joe Logano and Ty Gibbs got into it. And we felt the same way about Ty Gibbs.
Yeah.
We're like, please just piss everybody off. And Joey and Ty, like Joey went and chewed his ass out.
Yes.
But it's like Ty is so tiny.
I know.
And then you're like, now I feel bad for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Carson Hocevar and Joey Logano, they're both 8'12".
Yeah.
Like, that's somebody that's, number one, Joey's not afraid to go confront anybody. Clearly.
Yeah.
Whether they're bigger or they're tiny. So, like, I feel like he's the only one eye to eye with Carson. And as silly as it sounds, it's almost like I feel like people don't confront him because he's so tall.
Oh, no, they
It's
don't.
not like he's big, but he's just, like, tall.
But we also know race car drivers are tiny. Most of them are tiny.
Yeah.
Ross, Josh Berry, Tyler Reddick,
Kyle Larson.
Kyle
Larson's like 120 pounds.
Yeah. There's only like several dudes that are normal height.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Carson Hocevar, I don't know how he fits in a car.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't understand that at all.
His knees have got to be in his mouth. Kyle Larson couldn't reach the pedals if he sat in that seat. He couldn't.
Physically could not.
Yeah.
So I selfishly hope he keeps doing it. Last thing on standouts is Blaney a Martinsville guy.
Yeah, he is.
Where's this coming from?
I don't know.
He's always been good there, but it's like he finally found out what it takes to win. Now I feel like he's going to win every Martinsville race.
I'm with you. Everyone,
especially the fall one.
Especially the fall one. Somehow the Penske car, he finds it in the fall. Yeah, I mean, I wish I could book Martinsville 2025 right now, Ryan Blaney winner, because it would pay a lot.
Do you remember? I wish I could remember what episode, but it was like you were on and on about it. You're like, this is the longest Ford's ever been without winning a race.
Yeah,
and I was like, then
it had been up until that point. It was early in the year until
it was like 10 races.
It was a lot until like Brad won maybe.
Maybe
did Brad get the first win?
Maybe, yeah, or maybe it's Super Speed. I can't remember, but I was like, they're tricky like that. Like they don't, like they want to slide under the radar. So then whatever they're like, it's like Tech doesn't even care about them anymore.
No,
because they're like, you've been bringing god awful cars. Now we just feel bad for you.
Yeah.
And then they just start sliding something in.
Yeah.
They
fuel lines, whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah.
So it's just nuts how the tides have turned, but
no, he's so good, and I think he'll be on I think by the end of his career he'll be on the list at Martinsville, like a Jimmy Johnson or a Jeff Gordon at some of Marco. Yeah,
wow. Those are big numbers though.
Those are big numbers, but I mean
that's like 9-10 Martinsville wins.
Do you see him losing right now?
I don't know. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying like that's big.
No, it is, but I mean, I understand. I mean, Mark Martin's up there at Martinsville too, ain't he?
I don't think so.
Oh, where's he up?
It's really just like Jeff and Jimmy.
Okay.
Dominated. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Martin Truex has won there a lot too.
Yeah, but I think he's on his way. I would love to see what's.
We might be seeing the beginning of history.
Yeah.
I think Jeff's won there 9 times. I think Jimmy's like 7 or 8. I want to say Jeff's got the most. If Jeff doesn't have the most, to be someone way older, like an old school guy.
Richard Petty.
Yeah, something like that. Maybe
with 15.
Who's got 15?
Richard Petty.
Okay. I think Jeff's got 9.
Okay. We got to take Richard Petty out. He doesn't count.
Yeah, that does not count.
Yeah. Can I get a list, please?
When Richard Petty was winning those, it was like they were getting fans to put their cars in that they drove their way.
Oh my God, I don't.
All times Martinsville.
Yeah.
Do I need to look it up?
You might. No, I think I got it. No. All-time NASCAR Cup Series winners at Martinsville. Maybe this one's it. Here we go. Got it. Richard Petty 15, Darrell Waltrip 11,
Okay.
Jimmy Jimmy and Jeff tied for 9. Rusty Wallace 7. Dale 6. Fred Lorenzen. Yeah.
He's a champion.
6.
Is that the choose zone this week?
No. Kelly Yarborough 6. Denny 5. I don't think this list is updated because it says Blaney 1, so Blaney would be 2 now.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
So he's the current Martinsville.
Besides Denny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I feel like... How long
Truex has 3.
How long
So-
has it been since Danny's won at Martinsville, though?
Oh, it's been... He said it on the podcast last week, and it was...
2015 or something.
It has been years.
Yeah.
Almost a decade.
Yeah.
Almost a decade. So, I mean, if he keeps it up, say he wins at Martinsville every other year, if he wins the fall race for like the next 4 years and then wins like every other spring one, dude, you can cut into 9 quick.
He's getting his own grandstand named after him.
100%. 100%.
He might be. I mean,
Yeah.
I think his team's got something at that track, and I think he's just really good at it too.
Yeah.
It's a good combination.
Definitely is.
All right, let's get into predictions. So I've got spoiler first. I'm going to save that to roll into bets.
Okay.
'Cause you're an absolute psychopath about it.
All right.
So championship 4, who wins it? I'm going to start because you kind of started this conversation for me. So we've got Reddick.
Yep.
I'm going to write them down because I'm dumb. Reddick, Logano, Blaney,
Willie B. Yeah.
So you mentioned, is this enough to change the format?
Yeah.
Right. So in my opinion, NASCAR has a 25% chance to get out of this whole season.
If Tyler Reddick wins.
Scot-free. No.
Oh.
No. So overall, for NASCAR to not look bad, they have one chance, and that's Ryan Blaney to win.
Really?
Okay, so, and I'm just talking overall, right? So number 1, Tyler Reddick wins.
Yeah.
They're gonna hand the championship to the team that's suing them.
Okay, I didn't think about that, but
Terrible look. I'm not saying format wise.
okay, yeah, because if you're talking like who deserves it as far as the driver go, Tyler Reddick's got to be number 1.
Yes.
Okay.
Out of these 4.
Out of these 4,
Yeah.
yes.
But I'm just saying for something to change in NASCAR, not only format but overall, they are putting all their eggs in the Ryan Blaney basket.
Yeah.
Because he's the most not the most deserving overall, but out of these 4, that's the most quiet.
Yeah.
That's like you ask me who won 2013, right?
Yeah.
Jimmy Johnson. It's like no one even gives
No
a
one
shit.
cares. Yeah.
So Tyler Reddick, NASCAR's suing them. They're handing the trophy to that team.
Yeah.
Terrible look for them.
Yeah.
All right. Joey Logano doesn't even deserve to be in this round.
No.
Or the round of 8.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He has 6.
Or the whole playoff, honestly. Yeah.
He's got, like we said the other week, he's got 6 top 5s.
Yeah.
3 of them happen to be wins.
Yeah.
Good on him.
Yeah.
But he's had a terrible season,
Yes.
Absolutely terrible. So I made a tweet at the beginning of September that said, I have this funny, and this was before Logano or anything. I said, I have a funny feeling that we're going to have a champion so crazy that it's going to completely dismantle the format. And we've had them before, but I was like, I feel like we're going to have one that's so bad that nobody can apologize for it.
Yeah.
To me, that's Joey Logano.
Yeah.
Terrible move.
Yeah.
All right. Willie B wins.
Yeah.
Willie B cheated his way.
Right,
wrong, or indifferent.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like because we never get what we want, Ryan Blaney will win this. Everything will get quiet. In 3 months, we all forget about.
Yeah.
We don't. But everybody else forgets about 2311 suing them.
Yep.
Because that's going to do something.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like if Tyler Reddick wins the championship, it's iconic.
Yes.
About this whole lawsuit. We're going to forget that Logano stumbled his way in.
Yeah.
Because everyone forgets that the first year of this format, Ryan Newman was in the Final Four with 0 wins.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Everybody forgot about it. But if he won the championship, that format gets changed year 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dang it, Ryan Newman. Dude, if Ryan Newman, if I could have gone back in time and pulled for any driver to win a race more.
Well, your boy won it that year.
Who did? Oh yeah, Harvick. Well, but then they would have changed it, and he would have won.
He would have won 15.
Yeah,
he would have won 15.
Yeah.
So
And then he would have won 2020.
Yeah.
It would have been a 2-timer instead of
He
this
probably would
one.
have won 18.
Yeah, he would have won 3.
Yeah. Joey would have
Possibly.
won 18.
Yeah.
So Logano blows it out of the water.
Yeah.
All right. Willie B blows it out of the water on another level of the format of now we're just cheating our way in.
Yep.
And all the collusion. Ryan Blaney wins, saves the day for NASCAR.
Yeah.
And we never get our way. That's how I see it happening.
I hope you're wrong.
But also, if Ryan Blaney wins, they get a back-to-back champion, and they're like, this isn't good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like we need Corey LaJoy to win a championship. The last thing we want is somebody to win 2 championships.
Yeah.
We don't even want people.
They're gonna take the field of 16 and they're gonna flip it around to where the 16th driver's in first place going into the something crazy.
The number 1 seed has to drive the 51 Rick Ware car. It's ridiculous. It just gets worse. So I don't know. Maybe it's bad form all around, but I feel like me personally, who I want to win is Reddick.
Yeah.
Just because I would love nothing more than
I'm with you.
After this lawsuit's settled, we have this iconic picture of Michael Jordan, Denny and Reddick standing next to Steve Phelps, Steve O'Donnell, Brian France, not Brian France, Jim France.
Jim France.
And it's just like, and then 2 months later,
they're seeing each other in court.
They're in court, and all of them are now fired because it's a monopoly. Whatever happens, but that's who I want to win. I think it'll be Blaney, just because that's the way this always goes, and the BS continues.
Yeah.
So give me who you think and who you want, and it might be the same person.
I think Joey still wins it. Okay. I picked him at the very beginning of the year. It's on video. You can go back. We picked him season 1, and you can tell me, I was kind of basing it off the even numbered year thing, but still. You just can never. It's real.
Yeah.
Joey is there. He somehow did it. Mm-hmm. I think he pulls it off somehow. The most least deserving one, probably out of all 4 of those guys, he is the least deserving one. He somehow wins it because we always see how the least deserving guy wins it. And to me, you can make the case that. And when I was looking at odds, apparently. Blaney's the favorite, but Tyler Reddick is the least favorite, which I was very surprised.
I think it's just because they have speed, but it's more inconsistent than those other 3.
100%, but
like you saw it this weekend.
Yeah, you did. But I don't know. I just feel like Tyler Reddick has a volume of the whole season that you can rely back on, and to me, that speaks. That's louder than what Joey's done all year. Granted, he is yelling. He yells in October and November. They just scream. But
you know what the narrative will be, and they did this to Larson in 21. All of 21 going into this week, all the commentators were like, Larson might have won 9 races so far, but he's never had this pressure.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's a race.
Yeah.
He's won 9 of them. And they're going to do that. That's going to be the narrative because Logano's been there, 1-1. Blaney's been there, 1-1. Willie B was in there last year.
Yeah.
So Reddick's the only one new to the full. I'm telling you, mark my words, that will be the narrative all week. Can Tyler Reddick handle the pressure? Of it?
Yeah.
He's got it.
Yeah.
If he's got it will not be a lack of talent or pressure. It will be if they bring a fast enough car.
Yeah. No, 100%. I think that's what a lot of it will come down to. So I think Joey wins. But who I want to win is the same. I want Tyler Reddick to win. Yeah. I think he deserves it. I'm with you. You're not going to beat that picture. That would be a Tim Richmond type of picture right there. Yeah. It really would be. I mean, that poster I might buy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It would be iconic.
We would hang right here in the studio, and it would be amazing. Especially whatever happens with the court case.
Yeah, we're talking about a team that is not guaranteed a charter come Daytona.
Yeah.
Winning the championship.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
I think we need that.
Yes.
I think we need that more than, as much as I would love a winner that possibly changes the format, Reddick, I think that storyline's even. And I heard another podcast say this too. The only person we can win that puts us in national news is Michael Jordan wins a NASCAR championship.
100%.
There's nothing bad about that.
No, I'm with that. Would bring so many eyeballs, and then that brings eyeballs to the lawsuit.
Yeah,
because you can't touch the championship with him winning, and then not follow that up with he's also suing NASCAR.
Yes.
You can't. And to me, that gets it to so many more eyeballs to where you even get more outcry, maybe. So
yeah, I think it brings legitimacy. I mean, we're still fighting that battle of it's boring. They turn left, and then somehow F1. What was that?
I don't know. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw like something on the roof.
Yeah, it was like green lights. It's weird. UFO.
Yeah, or somebody's got a laser.
Yeah, pointing it in my house. Yeah. Maybe so, dude.
Oh my god, dude, I knew you shouldn't have protested.
I knew that was. I was gonna say that's my buddy. You're at the wrong target, big dog.
To get swatted.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was saying, but I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna put this in to drop the green bets because you're just so dumb about it. Are we gonna have a spoiler?
Yeah.
Okay, just get on with your bets. 'Cause it's the
Okay. He's against it. We argued about this before the show.
I almost left.
He did. I wish he would have. Before we get into who I picked, I won last week on Blaney.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So we're up 3.5 units on the year. We have finally.
So we cannot finish losing money.
No, you
So
will
if you
win
told me-
half a unit. You have bet all year, and
So
you will
all
win
year,
half
if
a
you
unit.
called us, and your unit is $100,000.
Yeah, you won.
$500,000.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah,
Wow.
you've won
Good for
five.
us.
Good for us. Thank you to Carson. Thank
Yeah.
you to Alex Bowman. Thank you to all these guys. But to your point, before I get into spoilers, this race is hard to pick. I know we were arguing about it, but it is tough because you didn't say it on air, but 14 years they've done this. There's only been
This is the 10th year.
10th year.
Yeah.
10 years they've done this. There's only been one driver that's won the race that wasn't in the championship four.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that. So
Because it's a fact.
it is a fact.
Yeah.
It is a fact.
Yeah.
I think it happens again.
God.
But I bet Tyler Reddick to win half a unit plus 950. That's kind of because I want it to happen, and I would hate to not bet on it and see it happen,
Mm-hmm.
And C Bell, half a unit to win the race. Christopher Bell, after getting cheated out, comes and wins Phoenix.
What's his odds?
Plus 600. Plus 600 to win. And then to end the year, our boy, to do it again, Alex Bowman, top 10, home track. Have no reason why he can't pull out a top 10. He's going to run 11th all day and break my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Plus 200, top 10 at Phoenix. He's not great here, but I feel like he gets it done. That's a full unit on him. And our last full unit, pretty much, and you can turn that 50 grand into just a little bit more money. Joey Logano, top 5.
Okay.
Minus 115. So, full unit. If you want to get spicy and take Joey out and just have some fun because you got a half a unit to play with, you're making money anyway, go, and I might just do this for fun, but I didn't want to put it on the record. I'll probably bet a championship. I'll probably throw another unit in just for fun and maybe end the year on down half a unit if I lose everything. But I think you got to go Larson to win, or this is tough. You got to go Larson, or you got to go Chase Elliott. Yeah.
Why? Like, if you just want to light money on fire?
I just think that could happen. If you don't want to pick Logano top 5, yeah, I think.
Here's the thing about Phoenix. Long runs.
Yes.
Anybody not in the top 4 really doesn't give a shit.
That's what you keep saying, but Ross won it.
Yeah. And then what did Ross do this past weekend?
I know. I saw what Ross did.
So obviously even Ross got talked to.
I still don't know how winning the Phoenix race manipulates anything.
It doesn't manipulate anything. It's don't be a part of the story. Don't even be up in their business.
What are you talking about? Doing what he did makes you even more part of the story than just passing him.
I know. That's the point I'm making.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. So
when
just
you get to
win.
Phoenix,
You can't complain.
Don't be a part of the story.
No.
That's what they're being told. I promise you, Ross is not going to do this again. Ross is not even going to come close to ever doing that again.
I think you could bet another. You could pick Ross again to win. He might win.
Anybody from Chevy's not going to do it again.
Okay.
Because I bet they set them all down. Christopher Bell, they don't give a shit. They got screwed out of it. They're going to come in there. They're going to qualify terrible. That's the other thing. Now, the top 4 guys, regardless of where they qualify, they get the first 4 pit selections.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So that doesn't really matter on qualifying, but you also don't want to they're going to strategically qualify too, to where they're picking around other people, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
They're not going to care about practice. Their whole crew is checked out. It's the same thing we saw with Kevin in 2020 at Phoenix. The guy wins 9 races. He goes to his best track. Everybody's like, he's going to spoil it all. He's going to open. Dude, I think he finished 23rd.
He finished bad.
They didn't care. And Seabell doesn't care.
I think we're changing the narrative. We'll see.
No way.
Okay.
Okay, so then we're going to have any restart, right?
Yeah.
So the only thing that helped Ross at Phoenix that year was he was willing to be aggressive on restarts.
Yes.
Okay. Seabell is not super aggressive to begin with.
That's fair.
Much less if he has nothing to race for and there's only one Toyota in there. And Toyota plays games.
Maybe he wants to prove to himself that he can win at this track because
he already won at this track earlier in the year.
Yeah, but not in the fall.
Well, he already knows he can win here.
I don't know. We've seen him in the championship for the past 3 years, and he's not finished 2 years, and he hasn't finished a single race.
Well, last year he had a mechanical failure.
I know, and the year before that he blew a tire.
Right.
Didn't finish. Sucked.
Okay.
Maybe he's got to do something for his...
He has nothing to do.
This is all feel. Would you quit talking? I'm up. I don't know why you're...
I mean, that's fine. I thought you were going to do something crazy like no championship 4 people.
No.
So if you're only going to waste half a unit, I'm way less mad about it. But I like your Bowman bet. So like you said, Bowman's not great here. When he filled in for Dale Jr. in 2017, didn't know what he was doing at all. He almost won this race.
Yeah.
And then he's disappeared ever since.
Yeah.
Which is weird. It's kind of plays into what I was saying earlier. When you don't know what you don't know, somehow you're just really good.
You're just better, yeah.
But I think it'll be a Phoenix race. It won't be super exciting, but I think that's what makes it great.
Yeah.
Because I don't want a bunch of chaos. I don't want a last lap pass like a Homestead.
That was amazing.
It was amazing.
It was amazing.
It's amazing anywhere. It could be an exhibition in December, and
it would still be amazing.
It'd still be amazing.
Yeah.
But I don't need that for a championship race.
Okay.
So.
But what if it's Ryan Blaney passing Tyler Reddick that same way for the win at Phoenix? They have the 2 best cars, and he's just trying to make something happen.
It doesn't. The championship shouldn't come down to that.
Okay.
Unless it was organic. Like, let's say.
No, I'm saying you have a William Byron scenario. Tyler Reddick had to stay out on older tires, and he had a 13-second lead, kind of like when we saw Seabell trying to chase down. Yeah,
that's cool.
But it still shouldn't decide the championship.
Shouldn't decide a championship.
Okay,
that's my only point.
Okay,
yeah. Unless we ran 35 races straight up, and it's came down to that.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah,
because that's legitimate. But it's just goofy. It feels silly. It's manufactured.
It's manufactured for sure,
it's manufactured.
I love it.
Right.
I sign up for it.
Well, I guess you like Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown too.
I sure do. Give me Vince McMahon, son.
All right, we'll move into the Choose Who zone.
Yeah,
if you don't mind.
I don't mind.
We're doing good on time. I feel like we've blown through it.
Hour and a half.
God. It's probably gone faster because all we've done here is make the same points we keep making all year.
Yeah, it just feels good.
I had this idea today. I saw Elon on Twitter. He said, this is the new media platform. This is the only thing you can trust. It's Elon being Elon.
Mm-hmm.
So why can't we get someone really big in NASCAR Twitter to say, okay, I don't want your suggestions. I don't want arguments in the comments. I don't trust the fan council, and I don't trust what NASCAR says. Yes or no, should we get rid of this format and put a poll?
Oh.
A big NASCAR Twitter person, let's say it gets 40, 50,000 votes. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
And it's like 95% yes, which I think it would be.
Yeah.
and they still don't do something,
Dude, I'm with you.
I had that thought today.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm big enough on there to do that.
No, you're not. But
what if that's
why don't Jeff Glug do something like that? He loves a good Twitter poll. You know what I mean?
I think Jeff Gluck, he's critical in a way that's legitimate, and he's not chasing. Whoever does this is going to have a little bit of selfishness behind it.
To say that they
chasing some clout.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's in.
He's too humble for that.
Yeah, and I don't think he sees anything good would come out of it.
Okay.
Because he puts his opinion out there, and he's got a lot of followers. A lot of people listen to him. So, but I think it needs to be like an organic grassroots. We're gonna have to it's gonna have to be a rebellion.
Yeah. Hey, we'll start it right here.
Okay.
We'll start it right here.
I'm good with that.
I mean, this is our last pod all year, or for the season.
Yeah.
We're gonna come and recap on 37, and we'll probably talk about what we're gonna do after that next week. But
yeah, we'll do a couple in the yeah. We'll start the Twitter poll here.
Yeah, yeah. All right, choose who's zone. Hope you're excited. If you don't know the rules, 3 facts, 2 questions, 3 total guesses. He can trade guesses for questions. Fact 1 from Iowa.
Feel good about it. Nobody's from Iowa.
Yeah, I know. From Iowa.
Oh, I know who it is.
Who is it? Did a guess?
Give me a second one.
Okay. 1963 Daytona 500 winner.
I was gonna say Landon Castle.
Oh.
He's from Iowa. Right?
I don't know. Fact 3. Best points finish was 10th in 1963. Wes Jones.
I don't even know what questions I would ask. I feel like I just have to guess random people.
You can do that. I love that.
From Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
Best finish 10th. Can I ask a number on this one? Car number?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I'm sorry.
Is it that obvious?
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
How would it be that obvious?
It just would.
It just would.
It would. I'm done. You're done. Ask it.
Would.
You want another question or not?
Is that a question?
No, but I'm not answering that.
Now you got me. Can I ask what team he drove for?
No. You
Are
can't.
you serious?
Yeah. That's why I can't give you the number.
So I should know this.
I'm done. You have another question.
Do I still have 2 questions?
You still have 2 questions. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But it's this obvious.
If you don't ask a question, ask another question. Let me answer it. And if you're still nowhere, I'll tell you the number. I'll tell you the number.
So I don't know. I can't ask what number or team.
No, but
Okay. No, I'm just getting those. Getting this clear. What was his sponsor? Can I ask his sponsor? Yeah. That's a dumb question because he probably didn't even have one.
He may not have. In 1963?
Yeah. Probably didn't have. It was probably like someone's garage in Iowa. Who's that famous from Iowa?
English Motors. Car sponsor.
Is it like a black and red car?
No, it's not a black and red car.
English Motors. (1963) Daytona 500 champion.
Mm-hmm.
From Iowa.
From Iowa.
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I'll give you 2 guesses. You only get 2 guesses, so you have to use 2 questions. I'll give you the car number.
Okay, give me the car number.
21.
It was the Wood brothers. But all the Wood, like Leonard Wood and all them, they were all from Virginia. That didn't help me.
Okay.
Would that have helped me?
I thought it would. Wood Brothers is a small team.
I know, but they had a lot of drivers.
Okay. Maybe it wouldn't have helped you. I'm sorry. Maybe that was... Dude, you've beat me so many times off the dumbest things ever.
Okay. Let me take a guess.
Okay.
Is it Tim Flock?
No.
No. No. I don't think even when you show this name, I'm going to know it.
I think you will.
I think you're overestimating me.
Maybe.
Honestly.
Okay. Well, then I'll give you 2 more guesses. You want another question?
I don't think... No, I'll still take... Yeah, I'll take a question.
Yeah.
I don't know what it'll be.
I'll give you one more question.
I don't know why
if you
you're
think
acting like I know who this is.
Dude, I think you know who it is. I really do. I dug for a while for this one, though.
So his best finish of 10th was in the same year he won the Daytona 500.
Yes.
What's the last year he raced?
Last year he raced was 1975. That should do it right there. You should have got it on that one.
There's no possible way.
You should have.
There's no way.
You're going to know this. One more guess.
Did you know this name before you?
Mm-mm.
But you think I magically...
I think you would know, yeah. I think you're going to know this. I do.
From Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't make any sense at all. I hate to take a bunch of time, but I don't even know who I'd guess, to be honest.
Stumped you.
You did stump me.
I can show you if you got...
No.
Okay.
Let me at least guess one more time.
Yeah, guess one more time.
Oh, 1963. I mean, it's not like he was great. I guess I should ask how many wins he had.
5.
There's no way I know who this is.
Okay, I think you do. You're still not going to talk me off that horse.
That doesn't make... No, there's no way. Just tell me who it is. Now I'm pissed. No, I wouldn't know that. I know that I recognize that name.
Okay.
But never in a million years would
He
I.
died at Talladega in 19...
Is that why you thought I'd know him?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a good one.
He had 5 NASCAR wins. Tiny Lund? How do you say that? Lund? Tiny Lund.
So where did he grow up racing? Was he like a sprint car guy if he was in Iowa?
He
Or
was...
like an ASA guy?
ASA guy.
Tiny Lund.
Mm-hmm.
But he was probably like giant.
He saw his greatest success in NASCAR Grand American Series, where he was the season champion 3 of the 4 full years he was in the series. He won 44 of the 109 events he ran.
I feel like that's a really famous name.
Yeah.
Wasn't he super tall?
Yeah, he was a pretty tall guy.
So they called him Tiny. Someone just talked about him on a podcast, but I never would have got that. That makes it 7-3.
Yep.
Which is ridiculous.
Tiny Lund.
Tiny
Got him.
Lund. Wow. You got a picture of that car?
Yeah. Picture of the...
Your computer's screaming for help.
I know. It's just got to make it. Right there you go.
Isn't that cool? They just put the horsepower up there.
Yeah. Wood Brothers. I thought Wood Brothers would give it away.
I mean, really, I don't. They had a bunch of different drivers. I mean, obviously David Pearson's the big one.
Yeah.
And then after him, I mean, it was like, Ricky Rudd.
But I just figured that I didn't know. Maybe you knew who had won in the Wood Brothers car at a Daytona 500. I thought Daytona 500 was a big fact. It's a big race to win in 1963.
He probably won by 3 laps.
Probably. I didn't look out his margin of victory, but it was probably.
People used to go to that.
I know.
That's how boring life was.
Yeah.
But they're
Went
like,
by 3 laps.
yeah, they're like, this is the best thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah. Tiny Lund.
Wow, that was a good one.
Thank
I
you.
like it. You gonna give me an easy one next week?
Nope. Nope. No, we'll probably do a series. We'll probably do an off-season episode where we do like 4 or 5 of those. Just have some fun.
I need to look up where Tim. Was Tim Flock the one that had the? You ever heard the story of Jocko the monkey?
No.
I think it was. I might be wrong.
Jocko the monkey.
So one driver had a monkey in his car named Jocko.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Did he really?
Yeah, the monkey died, but it made it a few races. I think.
Oh my
I think it was
gosh.
Tim Flock that did that.
That's wild.
Now I'm curious. Do I have time to look that up real quick?
Too.
I already sound like a psychopath bringing it up.
Yeah, you kind of do. You kind of sound silly.
But they put like Jocko's name on the side of the car, and he rode in the car.
Jocko Willings? Is that who you're talking
Wilnix.
about?
Yeah.
Willings.
That's Wilnix. Jocko Flocko. Who's Jocko Wilnix? Why is that name? Yeah, Tim Flock. Tim Flock had Jocko.
Jocko, the
What are we
person
saying?
Jocko is like
Oh,
former
is that?
Nate.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. I've got that stupid book I've never read. I had to read it for one of my jobs.
Oh, and
I've never read it. I was like, this is so dumb. It was like, because they were talking about, no, we're getting way off topic.
Yeah.
But our boss, he was like, yeah, he's like, he talks about how you should get out of your bed.
yeah.
You should make your bed every morning at 5 a.m. And I was like, I just want to make more money.
Yeah.
I don't think my sheets have anything to do with that. Like, I'm in sales. I'm in sales.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I don't think I need to bounce a quarter off my bed to get a big sale, but
No.
yeah, we had multiple meetings, and they're like, "What'd y'all think of chapter 3?" I was like, I couldn't put it down.
That's how they found out if you were good at sales or not. You either read the book or you were really good at sales. Yeah.
I was like, once I picked it up, I couldn't put it down. I finished it one night. They're like, me too, and I was like, get me off this meeting. All right, you got anything else to end on?
No, man. I'm excited. Let's go enjoy the race. We're watching at your house. You're throwing a party.
Maybe, yeah. I haven't decided yet.
Oh.
I haven't decided. Isn't that because now I haven't told anybody? It's been too late. I might do something. We'll
Send
figure
out a
it out.
text.
I know I might.
I can't come over at least.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna. I haven't decided yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, no party. Sorry.
We'll figure it out.
All right.
Not fair.
Yeah.
All right. Appreciate y'all
Yeah.
watching. We'll be back to recap Tyler Reddick winning. And,
That's right.
NASCAR just dismantling.
Exactly.
And coming apart.
I know. We'll be here front row seat. See how many electoral votes they get.
Yeah. We appreciate y'all watching.
Yeah.
For sure.
See y'all.